decorate garments today. And one of the best ways and one of the methods that I've been getting requests on a lot is for embroidered patches, right? Embroidered patches is a thing, and a lot of people don't know how to do it. And a lot of people struggle with that specific garment decorating method. And one of the reasons why I think a lot of us are not doing it is because, one, because of the requests that people are asking for, and two, because of the fact that we cannot compete with the prices that people overseas are getting, right? That if you order your embroidered patches from places overseas, we can't compete with those prices here in the United States. And that's at least that's the problem I've been having. What's going on, Gail? Thank you so much for joining in on the live this morning, this late morning. I'm kind of late right now. I had a lot of stuff going on this morning. So, but what's another common way? Gail says, I do patches for motorcycle clubs. Yes, I've done a few of those. The thing with the motorcycle patches is they're like, those people want, like, the motorcycle clubs want really, really big patches. The rockers are big, the patch in the middle is big, and the rocker at the bottom is big. And that's not a problem, but what you got to worry about with those is the application method. Gail, are you embroidering directly onto the motorcycle jacket, or are you making the patch and then adhering the patch onto the jacket with like an adhesive, or are you sewing the patch down after the patch is embroidered already? Because there's a bunch of different ways to do it, right? And a lot of companies, if you noticed, a lot of companies are starting to sell not only embroidered patches, but PVC patches and, you know, some type of latex patches, different types of patches, but leather patches. That's another one if you have a laser engraver and a laser cutter. But patches are very, very popular. And I have a specific client right now that has a brand, and he spends a lot of money with me, and he's been asking me to do some patches for him. But the patches that he wants are 12 inches tall, right? And that's a lot of stitches. And even though I have 8 heads at my disposal, I still have to charge him a certain price, or else it wouldn't make any sense for me to do it, even though I have multiple heads. So the patch size also is a really, really big determining factor, because even though you have multiple heads, it's still going to take each patch like 2.5, 3 hours to embroider, depending on the size of the patch. So how do we compete with those bigger companies, right? It's like we're stuck in a rock and a hard place. Bro, I was in Philly this weekend. We left this morning. Oh man, how did you enjoy your stay in Philly? How did you enjoy it? I hope you had a good time. I was wrapped up at the house doing a bunch of stuff here, and I had some renovations. I did go to studio for a little bit while I was this weekend also, but yeah. Gail says, I do big and small, and then I sew them on the leather jackets with my Racoma industrial sewing machine. Cool. That is the best way to go about doing it. Now, when you're doing patches, several ways to do it. Most of the companies that are selling patches right now, they have like adhesive on the back of the patches. They have adhesive on the back of the patches, and you heat apply it. But I'm sorry, something funny is in my head right now, and I got to show you guys this. One of these bigger companies, right, that sell patches, they had this ad running, and let me see if I can find it for you guys, because I want to show this to you guys, because this is what not to do. Weird, right? Give me a second, guys. Let me try to cue this up. I want to know if you guys saw this. Let me turn my music off real fast. Let me know if you guys saw this in the chat. All right. Let me know if you guys saw this. I think it's hilarious. Let me know if you guys saw this. Just look. They stopped running this ad, by the way. I'm glad I saved it on my Facebook. So this is exactly how I would adhere. I always say to press on the side. Let me pause the video right here. Guys, look how I want to say they did this on purpose, but look how raggedy. Let me rewind this video. Look how raggedy this turned out. And they like paid money and aired this video. So this is what you don't want your patch to turn out like. I refuse to believe, I don't know. They stopped running the ad. At least that's what I think, because I don't see it anymore. But they ran that ad for a couple of days, and I think they were getting crap in the comments and laughed at and stuff like that. So they stopped running the ad. But anyway, a lot of the companies are running advertisements saying they offer different types of patches, and I want to encourage you guys to try to think of ways to implement patches, especially embroidered patches in particular, into your line of things that you guys offer, services that you guys offer. But you have to be strategic with it, because if the patch is too big, the price that you have to charge has to justify the amount of time it takes to make the patch. So a happy medium would be medium to small size patches, because they don't necessarily take as long a time to complete the whole process of making the patch. And also pay attention to how you adhere the patch, right? How you put the patch on a garment. I think the most highest class way to put a patch onto a garment is actually sewing it down, just like Gail said. Gail says that she makes the patch and then she tacks it down with the Rokoma industrial sewing machine onto the leather vest. And I think that's exactly the way that you should do it, because that's the best quality way. The most common way is people put the adhesive on the back of the patch after the patch is completed, and then the customer can then heat apply it. Well, the problem with that is if you're not using a really, really good heat adhesive, then that patch is going to fail eventually, or it's going to start failing. The adhesive that I use never fails. The adhesive that you get from overseas, most of the time, the adhesive that you get from overseas when you order custom patches, is not that good. It's not that good. Trust me. I have experience with customers that order patches and stuff like that from overseas, and their adhesive is not that strong. I think they use the bare bones stuff on there. But what I would advise you guys to do is on the production process as you're making your patch, leave a little small. Of course, it also depends on the fabric that you're embroidering on. I would advise you to use, what's this stuff called? I think it's polypropylene. I think it's called polypropylene, the stuff that I like the best, because it doesn't have that much give. It's easy to cut, and it's very, very dense fabric. I like it in black, but when I embroider on it, I cut around the perimeter. You can either use, I advise you to use a laser cutter for the best results. But I guess if you don't have a laser cutter, you can use scissors, but it's going to be very, very difficult to get a contoured, perfect cut around that patch if you use scissors. But the reason why I recommend that method is when you go to sew the patch onto the garment, right? For those of you guys that don't know how to sew, you need to start learning, because it's a very essential arsenal to have, essential skill to have in your arsenal, especially in garment decorating. Learn how to sew, at least a straight stitch. If you can sew a straight stitch, then you can take your time and sew around the perimeter of a patch, right? So the satin stitch, a lot of times people sew on the satin stitch, and that's acceptable. It's very forgiving, especially if you use the same exact thread that the satin stitch is. But another method that I recommend, like I said, when you produce the patch, the stabilizer that you use, or the background that you use to embroider on, have a contour cut around the patch, and that's what you can actually sew down. You can sew close enough to the satin stitch, but off off of the satin stitch onto that fabric that you use to embroider the patch on, and it creates a nice effect that it looks very, very high quality and gives it a high finish, especially if the material, if you don't leave too much in the material, it won't fray. It won't not fray, but it won't curve up too much. But that's the method that I use, and I think that's the best method because embroidery is number one, the hands down most high quality garment decorating method. And the way to get the embroidery on the whatever it is that you're putting it on is either one, embroider on the actual thing, or make the patch and then place the patch onto the thing. And the highest quality way to get the patch onto the actual thing, whatever it is to sew it on there, because on the back of the thing, you won't get all that embroidery stuff that rubs on your skin. Even though embroidered garments, like I've never had a problem with the back of an embroidery rubbing on my skin and that being an issue. I've never heard of that being an issue for people, but it is a thing that people talk about in the industry. That's why they have stuff like tender touch, especially for babies and stuff like that. But even when I wear my garments, my embroidered garments with no shirt on, with no undershirt on, I don't feel anything and it doesn't really bother me. So that's another thing that's in the industry that's like another thing that people talk about in the industry, that's like not really a factor. But it does look a lot cleaner and a lot more professional on the inside of the garment if you just have a single tack down stitch, and it helps the integrity of the garment because there's not that many not that many holes going in and out of the garment. And also if you're having problems with puckering, then you won't have that issue because you embroider the patch at first and then you just tacked it down. And also another thing that you can do is if you have an online store, right, and you have some designs that makes a shirt, right, or makes a specific garment that you sell on your website, you can actually have the patches pre-made and you don't have to actually pre-make the garments. When you get an order, only thing you'd have to do is grab a patch and then sew it down onto the small, the medium, the large, or the extra large and ship your orders out that way instead of like having to start from scratch, right? So we're talking about pre-made patches, and we're talking about grabbing a garment, whatever color it is, and put the design onto the garment and just sewing it down. Your production is done, as opposed to getting the order, grabbing the garment, putting it on a machine, and embroidering it on the machine. All your messing up or potential mess up is going to be done on that patch. And that patch, if you mess up on a piece of polypropylene or a piece of cutaway stabilizer, that's an easy loss versus losing a whole entire garment if in the event that your machine messes up. So just some things to think about, guys. Let me listen to some questions, see some questions and some comments over here. Gail says, that's a hot mess. I would never give that to anyone. Quality controls everything. That is right. Backhouse West says, what's up, A-Dubb? What's up, Backhouse West? What's going on, man? How you doing? What adhesive do you use? The adhesive I use, it doesn't really have a name because I ordered it. When you go on Alibaba, you can pick a bunch of stuff and you can ask for like the thickest adhesive that they have, and that's the stuff that I use. I ordered like a whole bunch of it. I've had it for like the amount that I bought. I think I bought like 8 bundles of it, and I still have like 3 or 4 more bundles left. So I've been using that for like the last 2 years or so. So I'm not done with it yet, but I don't know the name of it. But a company that you guys can consider using who has really, really strong adhesive is Lone Star Adhesive. Let me see if I can bring it up for you guys. Yeah, Lone Star. They have really, really, really strong adhesive. I've seen the commercials for their adhesive, and it's really strong. It's called Lone Star. Let me see. I don't know if it's the right website or not. UV silicone adhesive. Here it is. Okay, so yeah, this is the company right here, Lone Star. And their adhesive is by far some of the strongest in the industry that you can get. And because I've seen their commercials and look, sold out, sold out. Oh, those are patches, but where's the adhesive at? Yeah, I'm not sure whether you gotta create an account or something like that to get to it. But Lone Star, yeah, Lone Star adhesive. They have some of the like most durable. Who've heard of Lone Star in the comments? Beanies don't take heat well. Yeah, they definitely don't, especially in that instance right there with that Ninja ad. I thought that was funny. Yeah, so DBHLLC says that, yeah, that's who he uses, Lone Star adhesive. I've never used their product, but I know just from looking at their ads that their product is very, very strong, guys. So one of the things that you can do, right, if you don't have an embroidery machine and you want to start selling patches, take some money, all right, take it $500 to $1,000, go on Alibaba, buy a bunch of different patches, right, with the adhesive on it, and you can start selling patches, or you can start selling decorated garments that have the patches on it, but you don't have to pre-make the garment, obviously. And use that on your website, right? Put those patches that you bought on your website and advertise the patches that you can sell, right? Or advertise also the finished garment that you can sell with the patch already applied. Now, people are probably going to come to you and want custom patches done. Only thing you have to do is allow for lead time and have a minimum quantity amount. And if you have a minimum quantity amount and the customer's okay with the lead time that it's going to take for you to produce the patches, right? Then you can charge a certain price, right? You don't give them a price until you go ahead and talk to the person that's producing it. You get that price, you tack your profit onto the price, you charge your customer, right? And then as long as you have enough lead time and they know that's going to take you 3 weeks or so, because that's probably what it's going to take you to get it from overseas, 3 weeks or so, then you can go ahead and you're in business right there. So let me know what you guys think. Just give you guys some ideas to start making some money without having to put out that much money, right? Because when you're doing custom stuff, you get the money in advance, pay for the thing that the customer wants produced, take your money off the top. Once they get the product, once the product comes in, you go ahead and ship it to your customer. Everybody's happy and you're in business. And a lot of these companies do business like that. Like I bought some labels, some woven labels from this company called Quality Woven Labels years and years ago. And I think they're still in business. And I was 100% sure, I'm 100% sure that they get their patches made from overseas. Why am I 100% sure? Because it took about a month for me to get my woven labels. It took about a month and a half for me to get my woven neck labels from this company. So I'm like, they're just taking orders. You're paying for the U.S. company to make your patches or make your labels, and they're getting it from overseas. So that's an easy business, and that's their whole business model, guys. So just some ideas for you guys to think about today, okay? So that's all I got for you guys. Beanies do well if you use a silicone pad. Yes. You definitely have to use a silicone pad. And that's one thing that the Stahl's Fusion IQ heat press is really, really good at, because the platen heats up at the top as well as the bottom. So it's really good at that. So later on today, guys, I'm going to give you guys some demonstrations of this vinyl I have right here. It's called Brick Puff vinyl. I'm going to give you guys a demonstration later on today. So stay tuned to the channel, because I'm going to be pressing some Brick Puff and showing you guys what it looks like. Because I had a client that asked me to cut some vinyl for him, and he asked if I had Brick Puff. And I said, there's no such thing as Brick Puff. It's either puff or there's brick. There's no Brick Puff. But he bought some Brick Puff to my studio, and he bought a garment that he had on with Brick Puff, and I felt it, and it wasn't puff and it wasn't brick. and it was somewhere between the two. It was Brick Puff. So he paid me to cut his vinyl, and I have a bunch of little letters here that I'm going to use, and I'm going to demonstrate to you guys Brick Puff. And we're going to go hunt on Alibaba and try to find this stuff, because I don't know. I think nobody's selling it, and if I could find out where to get it from, I'm going to start selling on my website, because it's pretty good. It's some pretty good stuff, and it's pretty impressive. You know, like Puff HTV, with my experience, after like 2 washes, Puff starts to do this weird thing where it crinkles up, turns to like popcorn, and disintegrates off the garment. Brick HTV, on the other hand, you apply it, and I've never had a shirt with Brick HTV coming off of my shirt at all. So Brick is very, very doable. Flock is another one that's very, very doable, but Puff HTV is not that durable at all, in my opinion. And let me know what you guys have of experience with Puff HTV in the comments, and let me know if you've had a different experience. But this Brick Puff, I haven't tested it yet and tested its durability yet, so I can't wait to test some of it and see how durable or how not durable it is, and that'll determine what I do moving forward with this stuff. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Someone said, did you find that Puff? I want some. No, I didn't find it yet. I'm still going to do some research. I'm going to need to order some from overseas and see if it's the same stuff, because the stuff that I've found overseas is called Super Puff. That's what it's called, but I'm not sure if it's the same as Brick Puff. Somebody else in the comments said something about Stalls had some other type of puff, but I'm not sure if it's the same stuff. I talked to the guys from Caesar, and they said they don't sell it, and that just like blew my mind right there, because you know Caesar, they have everything, so they don't sell it. How much of a markup would you do if you do want to use your overseas company? It depends on what you're selling. Now, what I would do is I would look at other companies online that are selling the same thing that you want to sell or something similar, and get some price quotes from them. And that way, you know, a fair price, a competitive price in the market that you can charge. So that's what I would advise you to do as far as that's concerned. So yeah, be careful. You don't want to have razor thin margins, but you still want to be competitive, but you want it to be worth your time, but you don't want to beat anybody over the head, because you know, you're not really doing any like tedious work. You're not actually doing any manufacturing. You're just the middleman, and you're just like taking an order and you're just putting the order in, right? So it's not that difficult, the work that you're doing, but it's a very sustainable business, because most companies in the United States run like that, right? Most of them get their products from overseas and store their products here and then give it to you. Or most companies take your order, especially when it comes to this garment decorating industry and the equipment that we use. I know you guys can vouch for this. How many of you have ordered equipment and have not gotten the equipment for like 2 months or so? That happens, especially with like DTF printers and embroidery machines. Sometimes you can order something and not get it for like a couple months. Where do you think they're getting that stuff from? Just saying, right? So ask him where he got his. He got his from a place here in North Philadelphia. It was in North Philadelphia, and the guy, it's a Korean guy, he said. The Korean guy that sold it to him said that he actually makes the stuff. I'm not buying it though. I think that he just told him that he makes the stuff, but he actually gets the stuff from overseas. That's what I think personally. Not sure, but like I said, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to try to find it, and we're going to report back to you and let you guys know. All right. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys this morning. Can't wait to talk to you later on today. Stay tuned, because yesterday I printed up 50 labels on my iColor 250 label maker, and I recorded the whole process just to show you guys approximately how fast it would take to produce 50 labels in real time, so you guys get to see that to determine if that's something that you want to get into or not. Okay, so 9 months for my Mira 9, but worth it. Yeah, the Mira laser cutter, I want one of those so bad. There was a lady, I saw one on a certain app. I don't want to say it because I don't want somebody to grab it from under me, but I saw one on a certain app that I wanted to get, but I didn't have the space for it. I didn't know where I was gonna put it yet. So that's definitely a laser cutter that I'm looking into getting. Maybe I could work something out with a company or something like that, but I'm looking into getting one. But as of right now, I don't know where I'll put it. I'd have to like get rid of something, but I don't have anything that I want to get rid of. So yeah, I'm glad you're having a good time with your Mira. It's like one of the best companies out there as far as laser cutters are concerned. And if I'm right, they're the most fast. They're the fastest company. So yeah, for those of you guys that don't know, let me go online and see if I can Mira, but laser cutter industry leading. Here they are right here. Boom. There you guys. This one right here. This is one of them right here. So products. You said you have the Mira 9. Here's yours right here. Mira 7S and the Mira 9S. So I'm assuming you got the 9S package right here. So yeah, that's the $10,000 bundle right there. And I've seen these lasers in up close and in personal, and they're very, 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 very good. You said don't get the old one, get the red line. Okay. Why is that? Why is the red line better than the old one? Why should I not get the old one? Because they said that's what they're upgrading to. I think the red line. Is the red line faster? Does it have new features? It's easier to use. Yeah, but I think I'm definitely going to take your advice. Once somebody gives me advice that has experience with it, I'll take their advice. So yeah, I'm definitely not going to get the old one if you say don't get the old one, because yeah. But let me know in the comments down below why, because I'm about to get off this live right now and edit some video for you guys. But let me know in the comments, in case I don't see it, why you recommend getting the red line as opposed to getting an old one. It was a very, very good price too, but I like the idea of getting a new one anyway. So let me know. I'll talk to you guys later. Let me know what you better features and maintenance free. Okay, that's enough. That's maintenance free. Is I like that, but I like having more features also. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on what we talked about in relative to the patches, and let me know if you do business like that, because I know a lot of people actually do business like that already, but they don't say it, but they do, right? There's a lot of companies that sell these PVC patches. Where are they getting them made from? Do you have these PVC machines that make the patches on hand? A lot of times when you order stuff, it takes a long time. Where are they getting it from? Just saying, guys. Stay tuned, and I'll talk to you guys on the next video. Talk to y'all later.